everyone, this is Aubrey and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm thrilled to have Renee Rao joined me for this interview, and she is an AI innovator, same time a startup founder, and she currently advisor in Nvidia and leading the go-to-market strategy for the AI innovation and helping thousands of startups to accelerate their growth in this Nvidia ecosystem. She is in front line of growing evolution every day. I cannot wait to hear what is really happening in there. Renee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Renee. I do ecosystem business development for healthcare life science, responsible for startups and also consulting partners.
So, Renee, I look at your profile and your LinkedIn. It shows that you stayed in NVIDIA for over 9 years, and it's quite a long journey. I just wonder what keeps you working in the same company for this long time and also keep growing, keep finding the new challenges, make the difference every day.
Yeah, can't believe it's been 9 years.
Yeah.
NVIDIA is a company that reinvents itself every single year. So every year definitely feels like a new challenge, and I continue to grow with the company. And even though it's one of the highest market share by value right now, it still feels like a very small company. So with that, I literally feel like working at a startup, but just a lot more fortunate with some more resources around. So I think every year, no matter from the beginning of getting into DGX, which is one of the AI system product line, to now doing healthcare AI startups, from building a product, positioning a product, building a market that actually doesn't exist, to enabling millions of developers and 4,000 some healthcare life science startups is using our technology. Just been quite an interesting journey, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. Just imagine that you're always working with these new startups and helps them to accelerate their growth in this very new space. Do you see any specific AI area? Do you have great potential? It might reformed people's life in next like 5 or 10 years.
So at NVIDIA, we focus on specifically 3 things. Especially on the healthcare life science side. So that's digital bio, digital health, and digital devices. Digital bio means that using AI for drug discovery and lab in the loop, and be able to solve the problem of 10 years and $10 billion, 90% failure rate of delivering a drug to market. And now with AI at the forefront, you're able to actually find a lot more targets and get drugs to market a lot faster. In silico medicine, in vitro, recursion pharmaceutical to dino therapeutics, just to name a few. They are doing quite amazing things in this space. The second part is digital health, and what that is agents and avatar to help with operational efficiency in provider payer, which means hospitals and insurance, and also some of the clinical trial side. So when you get sick, you end up have to go to a hospital and hopefully get matched with certain clinical trial. But sometimes, because we just don't have enough data on you as a patient, and it's very hard to match you to the right clinical trial. So a lot of these things, because of not enough healthcare professionals, etc., that using AI is actually a very, very good way to help reduce the burnout and be able to bring the best care to the patients.
Yeah.
And the last one, the digital devices side, we are leaning towards physical AI. So that's a lot in robotic surgery, med tech, med devices, etc. So think Intuitive Surgical, Medtronics of the world, that they're building amazing robots. Many amazing startups also are pioneering, like for example, Moon Surgical. They're able to take from concept to FDA approval 15 months. And that usually takes about 4 to 5 years.
Wow.
So we're very much at the forefront of just started seeing a lot of great benefits coming out from these amazing startups in the ecosystem. And we can't wait for the next 3 to 5 years, because the next 3 to 5 years is a lot of these going to be able to land and expand and deployed in not only in developed countries, but also in developing countries, to help the sovereign nations and local populations to do what they do very best.
Nice. And I wonder for people like me, if I want to build some startup and I want to grow in the NVIDIA ecosystem, what the first step I should take?
First, of course, is build a really great startup that have amazing ideas, solve great problems, right? Then everyone that if you're watching, if you're a startup, feel free to join our NVIDIA Inception program, which is a virtual accelerator program to help you accelerate your development deployment of AI technologies.
Mm.
There's a lot of free cloud credits. We actually partner with AWS and many other cloud service providers to offer free cloud credits to the startups to get started quickly, and then AI technology support to match them with VCs and customers, and also take them to special projects. Like, for example, this year is a Sovereign AI initiative, where we take domain-specific technology to help solve local problems.
Nice. And for your past experience, I wonder what's the approach or what the NVIDIA normally focus on help the startups to remove their obstacles. For example, like will they help basically on the technology, or they also have the finance help and also maybe the advisor help?
I think a little bit of both,
Okay.
all three actually. So some of the startups come and then they don't know which GPU to select, which software to select, and by recommending them how to evaluate certain open source model framework that are optimized on top of NVIDIA GPUs, and what GPU to select and the way of deployment, those can all go into like development journey. And then from funding side, we do have 1,000 VCs in our VC Alliance program. So many people can actually join that and get access to funding. And within NVIDIA, we have NVenture, that's our corporate venture team that also looking to invest in a lot of companies as well. And we do have advising too. That's not part of the core programming benefits, but just by being close proximity, sometimes a quick answer to certain questions, I would say it's in a form of advising as well.
Yeah. So those are very useful resources, and we will put the link on the screen. And if you need any help and to know more about NVIDIA's ecosystem, feel free to check it out. I believe there are many people join with you at the beginning, and then you are already the director. What do you think is the characteristic differentiate yourself from the other people in your organization?
Some of the leading traits, one is being progressively patient. And it's not just like being impatient about your skills. And in this increasingly instant gratification world that we live in, it's actually even more important to be patient to build skills. I know a lot of people our age tend to stay in a company for 1.5 years and 2 years, and then we'll move on, right? And what I have learned staying at a company for this long is some of the decisions that I made the first year that I was here, it actually takes 6 years to see the market impact. And if you just jump around, you actually don't know some of the decisions that you made in the B2B world, what kind of impact does it change.
Right.
And with the generative AI dropped about like 2 years ago, we've been trying to catch that apple dropping from the tree by lying underneath it really strategically, and be able to just lay the foundation, and when the moment happens and be ready for it, it's quite an important journey. So at the time, like you have to be very patient to figure out what is that killer app, and continue to have eyes and ears on the ground. But at the same time, it's not like moving it at a very slow pace either, because when the market changed, then you just have to change with it. And being adaptable, student always, is definitely something that I embodied every day.
Yeah, that's nice. Like I really can get related to that, because I think the company, the way how it goes, it's all like up and down. So many people choose to leave when it's down state, right? So they think, okay, I don't see the hope about the company. But I think the true leadership, they will really think, how can I help the company to keep growing and also survive in a difficult situation? And as you said, you need the patience, and also you need to believe in yourself and believe your team, that as long as you put enough research, the hardworking, and then you can really make a big difference.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I talked to many like entrepreneurs, also the senior executive, and then they shows different styles. Some people, like they say that, oh, take responsibility is their first priority, and some people says being a good person, and so you can gather people. So I'm curious what type of leader you are. Yeah.
So that's a very interesting question. There's this term called situational leadership. Basically means that you are the right type of leader for the right type of follower based on the situation and circumstances. So if there's like a pretty good framework about this, and that's worth looking into. I would say like over time, I definitely embody authentic leadership and just truly being myself. And at Berkeley, one of the four leadership principle, I definitely feel student always is something that I embodied every day. And just last semester when I was taking the MBA classes, one of the class was interpersonal relationship and embodied system leadership. That class is only one unit, but I would say that class definitely fundamentally changed my perspective for how I want to be leading in the future. Like one is continue to work on your own self-worth and ensuring that you do feel you're enough, not only for yourself, but also for the team, for the ecosystem, for the market out there. And the second thing is communication. Communication is so key. It's about listening. It's about communicate without too much of the gray area, explain things thoughtfully, and also be able to bring people on the journey and win together. So I think communication is extremely important, and we all have different communication style. And sometimes it's important to embody who we truly are authentically as a person and deliver the message very thoughtfully to people that you're leading.
You mentioned that one of the principles you follow is student always. And I also noticed that you went to lots of business school and you keep studying since the start of your career journey. And you went to like Stanford, you went to Sloan, and now you study EMBA in Haas. And how do you what's the most important things you learn from this study, and how you get it related to your industry work?
40 to 70 books a year. And
Wow.
I think every book that you open is a whole new world. So it's just quite an amazing escape, if you will. Sometimes it's a whole other world that you get into. But taking on those classes, mainly because I feel like sometimes we could pigeonhole into something that we are very familiar with. We wouldn't, and we do things a certain way that like we don't oftentimes proactively seek out other ways of doing it. Coming back to school is actually really good opportunity to look at things from the framework perspective. So if you just like look at a quadrant, for example, you tend to do things in this one quadrant, and then you're missing out the 3 other quadrants ways of doing things. So coming back to school is almost like a systematic way for you to look at the world more holistically. And sometimes people ask like, how do you balance so much school with actual work? I purposefully and intentionally pick classes that actually can strengthen my day-to-day work as well. Like even picking a project, I will pick a project that's deeply related to my work. So while I was doing a school project, is actually finishing my my work at the same time. So with that, like back in the days, I took the big data analytics when that was very important, then to AI, right? And so every single part is like, I'm trying to figure out, is there any other blind spot that I haven't fully embodied? And so coming back to school, it's a privilege and an honor to always be a student.
Nice. What are the book are you reading now? May I ask?
I read many books every year, and one of my favorite books that I repeatedly go back to is A Crucial Conversation, which is defined as opposing view, high emotions, and also high stakes. So when things don't go well, it actually ends up will ruin the relationship between two people or maybe two parties. So that book went into scenarios about how to build a safe space and truly listen and hear what the other person is saying, and be able to come to a potential compromise position or meet in the middle position to move the joint agenda forward.
Would you mind sharing us like what do you see about your life goal, or like does that change the way how you look at your past life and in the future?
Yeah. Oh, this gets intimate quickly. Let's see. There's one part about, of course, family and friends first, and I'm not going to speak for everyone, but that's a very important aspect. So number one is hoping that my family and friends and community is left better than where they are. The second part with my deathbed exercise that I came to learn that's very important for me is to build a flywheel of helping out the people in need in the community to democratize healthcare so they can all get access to healthcare. And what that may look like, it's still being formed. And I hope that by 100 years old when I finally close my eyes on my deathbed. Even if people don't know that I was the original one that started it, or the group of people that we started it, it will continue to go on as a flywheel and continue to benefit the ecosystem in a very meaningful way. For those that need care can get access to care. So yeah. And then the third thing is actually just enjoy life and be patient. Was something that I didn't put as much emphasis before. And now like I'm singing and dancing and reading a lot of books. And that's part that brings happiness and joy in my life. And I think the other class at Haas is the science of happiness. What I've learned from that class is actually, you know how we go to the gym and exercise like our muscles, and we go talk to therapists to exercise our brain? Happiness also takes work. So if you actually know what makes you happy, building the time, building the space to make sure that you're doing things that you truly love and not be bombarded by things that you feel like you have to do, because we're a free agent and we get to determine how we want to live our life. It's a short life. Believe it or not, 100 years will happen very quickly.
Yeah, that's really deep. So, by looking at your past life, if you name one person who influenced you most, do you have any name in your mind?
Yeah, I'll maybe pick like one work and one personal one. The work one, I definitely think Jensen Huang as our CEO is quite remarkable leader. Being an Asian American, it's hard to break that glass ceiling, but he really did not let that to be hindering factor for him to take a company from 0 to 1 to now thriving. And I think for him as a leader, he embodied a few very important things. One is being a true visionary, and two is he's extremely generous to not only to the people, the community, and the industry at large. And he oftentimes will love his competitors like families too. It's very hard to wrap your head around that concept. But he does think that everyone get to be successful together, and there is room for everyone to grow together. And that generous mentality is shown through and through in the way that he actually puts initiatives together, etc. And he's very good at navigating through hard times with a very clear mind. And he oftentimes goes back to first principle to ask the tough question of what is actually the most important thing to solve. And he actually even asked all of us to embody the culture of be lazy. What that is that you say no, you delegate, and you simply reject unless you're absolutely the person that you have to do this work. And when you do this work, ensure that you can generate the maximum impact. And I think a lot of that philosophy that he's embodied has built into the culture that we live, and also shape a lot of who I think a very important leader will be in the future.
So in your work, do you get a chance to work with him directly?
Sometimes.
Oh, nice.
And he's really great. And he's a good leader in a way that like, you feel like he's like a father figure. The other figure in my life is my grandma, who passed away 2 years ago now. But she raised me, and she is just a remarkable lady in my life. From her persistence to actually student always, even right before she passed away, she's still having this little notebook and learning English vocabularies.
Wow.
And she's very brave. Like, she almost got drowned in a swimming pool, to falling from the bike, to be the sole, almost like a provider and caretaker to 3 girls that have 2 younger sisters. And yeah, she's truly shaped who I am as a person today. And anytime if there's hardship, I just think of her, because she brings a lot of strength. And then she always encourages us to be independent, brave, and stay true to who we are as a person.
Yeah. So there is a Korean drama show. It's called When Life Gives You Tangerines.
I started watching it. I haven't finished.
Oh, you started?
Yeah, I started watching it. It's
really emotional.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I just it's an amazing TV show.
Yeah, but does that remind you your grandma?
Yeah, it was
me
hard.
too.
Hard. We all have dear ones that shape who we are today. So that show is a really fantastic one.